Behold the Black Panther and da 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 da.
No, I am your father.
And here we go.
That belongs in a museum.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
This is Sparta!
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Dr. Grant, my dear Dr. Sattler, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easily Entertained. As you can kind of see, well, if you're listening/watching on Spotify or on YouTube, we got a little visual side of things going on. If you're listening from another platform, then you'll notice no real difference, because I don't think those support video podcasts. I don't think, anyways. I know Spotify does, and then I can just upload it to YouTube. But yeah, we have a little visual setup now. It's basically just the corner of my room. We got the DVD bouncing logo on the TV right here. We got Spider-Man up here, and we got Spider-Man on the bed. It's pretty great. It's a good time. I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving, and it is December now, which is a little crazy. I just turned 22 as of filming this, like yesterday. It was crazy. It's crazy. I'm 22. I know. I'm kind of young, but also that feels weird because I'm 22. That's a little weird. But yeah, it's a great time. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about two entertainment things since November happened, and I felt like because we have been gone for like 3 weeks since the last episode, I felt like I should talk a little bit about something else. And so this week we're going to be talking about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, because that came out on the 16th, I think. It came out before the last episode, but I hadn't seen it yet, so I wasn't able to talk about it. Yeah. And then we're also going to be talking about the Wednesday show that's on Netflix now, about Wednesday Addams from the Addams family. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. So Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I thought that was really good. I really liked the first one. I think the first Black Panther is a pretty decent movie. I'd say it does have some flaws, which I feel like is safe to say for a lot of the Marvel universe. Because like they all feel kind of samey. I do feel like we have a few outliers, and I feel like Wakanda Forever is definitely one of those. So like the first Black Panther introduces us to the character. Well, technically Civil War did, but it fleshes out Black Panther and T'Challa a little bit more. Which rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. I was very sad not to be able to see him in this one, but hopefully he's at peace wherever he is. But yeah, in the first one, I feel like the soundtrack is fantastic, and like the costume design is pretty amazing. However, I think the one thing that the first one really did not have going for it was the CGI. And I feel like a lot of people agree on this. The CGI in the first Black Panther was kind of lackluster, to say the least. Like some of it felt like PS2 cutscenes. Like that final battle is pretty crappy CGI. Like I loved this Black Panther suit in Civil War, and then it felt like really fake being all CGI in the actual movie. So yeah, the CGI was not good in that first one, but I feel like in Wakanda Forever, so let's talk about that now. Let's segue into that. In Wakanda Forever, I feel like it had a lot of the good things that were in the first Black Panther, and they kind of expanded. Because I think in this one, the cinematography was fantastic. I felt like in this one especially, it kind of felt like the filmmakers got to kind of do whatever they wanted, which I thought was pretty cool. Because especially with Marvel, which is very studio run, I don't feel like filmmakers really get to show their personal touches all that much, which is kind of sad, I think, because it's like the whole like joy of being a filmmaker is that you kind of get to decide what you want and what kind of things look good. And I felt like with this one, they got to do that a lot more. I felt like they had some really nice cinematic shots, and I don't really know if that's like the right term to use, because cinematic shots, pretty much anything is cinematic. I think cinematic means like well composited, they styled it like to their liking kind of way. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, screw it, who cares? But yeah, I felt like that was really good. The music in this was especially fantastic. I listened to, what is it? Con La Brisa, I think is the name of the song from the Wakanda Forever soundtrack. But it's the song that plays when Namor takes Shuri to Talokan. And it's the music that's playing while they're going through that world and like showing how like amazing and like similar to Wakanda it is. And so I thought, I just love that song. It's just, it's such like a pretty song. It's like very gentle. It's not like super upbeat and everything, but it's like, it's not like a sad song. It's just like a relaxing kind of song. It is fantastic. It has basically become my new alarm sound, which is probably a mistake because one of these days I will not wake up to it because it's just a relaxing song and not something that's like, wake up. It's like, nah, that will probably make me sleep more than anything. But yeah, it's pretty good. I really like that aspect of it. I think the characters were really good too in Wakanda Forever. Because there are like all the main characters essentially. So like Shuri, Ramonda, Riri Williams, Nikita, and did I say Nikita? It's Nakia. There we go. Nikita. What was the general? Okoye. I was like, what the heck is the general of the Dora Milaje? Okoye. Yeah, so kind of like all the side characters from the original film kind of became the main characters in this one because of the death of T'Challa and like Chadwick Boseman. And so it was very interesting to like give that empowerment to him. And clearly, as a white man speaking, I can't say tons on representation because I come from clearly a place of privilege being a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man. But I thought it was great representation that they could have like more black women like be the stars of the film, and they're not being overshadowed. They were the stars, and I thought that was like really great, and I'm sure a lot of people actually really liked that representation. I thought their acting was fantastic, specifically Ramonda, who's like the queen of Wakanda. She's the mother to Shuri and T'Challa. There we go. So Angela Bassett, who plays her, holy crap, she was acting insane in that movie. Not like insane in a bad way. Insane as in she's so good. Like, I love her monologues. She just gets so passionate, and you can tell she's putting her all into this character. One of YouTubers I watch, Cosmonaut Variety Hour, he described it as she's like acting as if the movie's gonna go broke if she doesn't act this good. And I feel like that is so true because her monologues go so hard, and you can tell like she is giving it like she's like actually grieving the loss of her children and her family. And it's pretty easy to see why like the movie trailers used a lot of like her monologues because it's so like powerful and gets you really engaged. And I love it. I thought it was fantastic. And I also think that Shuri was also pretty great. I know there was like a bit of controversy for her because of, what's her name? Latita Wright. I think that's the name of the person who plays her. because she is anti-vax, I think. Feel free to correct me if I am wrong. I'm pretty sure that was the case when they were filming. So I know there was like some controversy around that, but it seems like they got through it because she's still Shuri. But I thought she was pretty good and like was pretty complex in this movie. Because she's lost her brother, she's lost her father, and then later in the movie, spoilers, if you didn't already know, you're watching listening to an entertainment podcast. I figured if we're going to be talking about things, you're probably going to have seen them already, or you don't care if it's spoiled. And it's been almost a month since that one's been out, so it's fine. But I like that. She's lost like her mother later in the movie due to like Namor. And so you can tell like she's repressing all of her emotions because she's like, I can't deal with this. I have to just push on through. I have to just get through it. I can't let these get to me, and I feel like with this movie, it was really to be like, it's okay to grieve. You've experienced such a tremendous loss. That's okay. It's understanding that you don't have to always be okay. And I feel like that's not like the main message of the film, but I do feel like that's a strong message in the film, is that it's okay to grieve and let your emotions like be free and stuff. I thought that was such like a good thing they could have added. And then so I talked earlier about the CGI in the first one being pretty I think in this one it is phenomenally better. There are still some janky parts for sure. I think particularly in the end, when we see Riri Williams, her final suit, because she's like Ironheart, if you didn't know that. And her suit looks kind of CGI'd. Like, it's not like, I don't know, it is noticeable because, I don't know, it's very brightly colored, and I feel like bright colors with CGI makes them look more fake a lot of the times. It's hard to have really bright colors with CGI unless you're stylizing it very well, like with Avatar and stuff. But I do think it wasn't terrible. Like, it's watchable. However, that part I was like, ooh, that looks fake. I don't really like that, but that's okay. I don't think it really took away from the movie. I think it was still pretty fantastic. I really liked it. Yeah, I think that's all I really got to say about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It was pretty good. Y'all should definitely go watch it if you haven't already. It was pretty fantastic. It is, I'm sure, still in theaters. Yeah, it's only been out for a month. It's usually out for like a month and a half, I think, is when we usually have movies out. Am I thinking right? I don't know. I think so. Excuse me. Anyways, next, let's talk about the new Netflix show, Wednesday. I really liked that show. I thought it was very interesting. Definitely binged it in just like few days, basically. But I thought it was fantastic. And I'm not actually super familiar with the Addams family, which may come as like a surprise considering I'm very much a movie guy and entertainment nut. However, I have not seen any of the old Addams family stuff. So it's like, I know like the theme, of course, because everyone knows the theme. But I haven't seen the original. I haven't seen the other movies with Christina Ricci as Wednesday. Can't remember when those were made. 80s, 90s, I think. The original one is from like the 60s, I think. I don't think it's a movie. I think it's a series, I'm pretty sure. Which I have noticed, although I haven't seen them, I've heard that and noticed that there's callbacks and stuff to those ones just because, you know, they gotta be some respect to the source material. I think one in particular, so like they brought Christina Ricci, who played Wednesday. I don't know what years it was. It was 80s or 90s. It was the movies. And she played Wednesday. And she is in this show, and she's actually like the villain, which you actually don't know until like the last episode, because she's like sneaky about everything. She doesn't let you know that she's the villain, which I think is pretty good. But I thought it was very interesting of a show. I liked it. Jenny Ortega, who plays Wednesday in this show, is phenomenal. I love just how like serious and like like dead inside she seems as Wednesday, which I feel like is perfect for the character. Oh, I loved it. I thought like the good amount of mystery and comedy and like some horror elements too, because it's Tim Burton. He kind of has to bring that stuff in. It's like his whole thing. So I love that. I thought he did a fantastic job with that. I loved it so much. The music, I think, is really well done because it has a really good score that like makes everything seem ominous. And then when they have licensed music, I thought that was pretty good and doesn't seem to like date it much, because I feel like licensed music does tend to date properties sometimes. And so having that can sometimes be a bit of a hindrance to an entertainment property. But I feel like with Wednesday, that wasn't a huge thing. Which, speaking of music, there is one scene that, of course, TikTok, everyone knows. There is a dance, and Wednesday dances, and it's kind of like a weird kind of dance, and she kind of just does whatever she wants, which Jenny Ortega actually choreographed herself, which I thought was pretty impressive. She took a lot of inspiration from like goth people in clubs in the 80s, just kind of doing their own thing. And there's even like a callback to like a little shuffle that the original Wednesday does in the Addams Family show. And so I thought it was great. Like it like is clearly like, oh, this feels a little awkward, like getting secondhand embarrassment. And I saw an article that a lot of people were actually complaining about that. They were like, oh, it just feels so cringe and awkward. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. She's not caring what other people think of her and can just do whatever she wants, which I thought was pretty great. I liked the show, and like the like main villain ish. It's not like like he is the main villain. However, he's the main villain not necessarily by choice. Which is, holy crap, what is his name? I do not remember. I watched it recently. I don't know how I don't remember the kid's name. But how do I not remember the name? If I wasn't shooting this on my phone, I would look it up. But so basically Wednesday's love interest, which is kind of weird to say. Her love interest in the show so he's like a guy that runs a coffee shop. What is his name? I might look it up. I have my iPad over here. All right, we're going to look it up. But anyway, so the character is like a monster, but he doesn't really know. Well, he does know it. We find out later that he knows it. But so he's like a monster, and he's been going around killing students and civilians. And so because Christina Ricci's character is like a descendant from like a pilgrim, which Wednesday is also a descendant from a pilgrim, but one that was like, they're called outcasts in the show, because they all have like powers and stuff, or they're like monsters essentially. So like Wednesday has like visions. She's kind of psychic. And her best friend, her roommate, Edith, is that her name? Enid. Man, I suck at remembering the names. Goodness. Enid is like a werewolf, And let's see, where's his name? Tyler. I thought it started with an E. I don't know why I thought it started with an E. Tyler. So Tyler's the main love interest. But so like Enid, she's werewolf. You have the sirens, not sirens, like scales, which are like sirens, and like there's a Medusa character. And then, so Tyler, he is what they call a hide. So he's a monster that kind of just transforms, and he's like basically like just a violent form of the person, but like they don't remember usually. But so he is like the main villain essentially, and he's a monster who's been going around killing people for Christina Ricci's character. Let's see, maybe I should have the name so I actually know what the heck I'm saying. Is that in here? Marilyn Thornburg, I think was the name. Yeah. But yeah, so Christina Ricci's character, she's one of the teachers, and she's supposed to be like the only normie teacher, so she doesn't have powers. And that's because in the show, she's descended from a like pilgrim who killed Wednesday Addams' ancestor, and so like they wanted to get rid of all the outcasts, which is all like these monsters and stuff. I think I said that. But so basically she takes over, like she controls Tyler to get him to collect like organs and stuff from all the kills so that she can resurrect this ancestor so that he can take care of business and get rid of all the outcasts. And so it's kind of interesting, and most of the story is about Wednesday trying to figure out who the monster is and like how to stop it, like what ties in with like the pilgrims and stuff, because she's getting visions of like her ancestor who was like psychic and looks exactly like her. And so it was kind of an interesting series. I really liked it. And we get little glimpses of the rest of the Addams family, primarily. So like Thing, the little hand, which if any of you have seen like the behind the scenes photos, are hilarious. Because we have the actor for Thing is just in like a blue suit, just around set, and he's just moving his hand around, which I thought was so funny to see the behind the scenes photos for that. But he does a great job. I think Thing is he's probably like my favorite character in the show besides Wednesday, which I think is hilarious because he never talks, but you can tell that like he has so much personality. I thought it was wonderful. And then we get like the main Addams family. We get like Morticia and Gomez and Pugsley, mainly at the beginning, and then like once like mid-season for like a parents' weekend thing. And then we also get Uncle Fester. He comes in. He's so weird and wacky. I love it. It makes me want to actually watch the movies and stuff so that I actually have like frame of reference for who these characters are. Like, because I know like bits and pieces, but I don't fully know any of the Addams family stuff. And so, yeah, but it was such an interesting show, and it kind of like is quirky and like fun and a mystery. I think Tim Burton knocked it out of the park. So did the actors. They were all fantastic. I always thought like they fit each character really well. So like Enid, I think Enid was definitely kind of gay. Not like, I don't know, like it was never like exclusively stated. However, it did seem like they were trying to make a lot of representation with Enid as like a gay character. Cause like, so she's like roommates with Wednesday, and they're like complete opposites basically. Wednesday is all like dark and mysterious, and Enid is very open and bright and colorful, and their rooms reflect that. Enid was very bright and colorful. She has like rainbow nails and stuff. And throughout the show, she's basically struggling to wolf out, is what they called it. It's like when she can finally turn into a werewolf, and she does at the very end. But like she's feeling a lot of pressure from her family to do it, and she needs to do it on her own time, kind of stuff. And like I think I don't know. I don't think it has ever been explicitly said anywhere, but it feels like that was definitely meant to be a bit of like representation for the LGBT community, to like kind of emphasize like how coming out is something that people need to do on their own time and stuff like that. And I can't really, once again, this is something that I can't really say, like talk about like with full credibility, because I am not a member of that group. I am very strongly an ally, and I think you are allowed to love whoever you love. And, you know, Andrew Garfield to me is magnificent. I may be part of the community on that regards, but I think normally I am not. So, you know, it's just an ally over here. It's, once again, I'm basically talking about things today that have representation, but you're listening to it from a straight white guy that really has no say when it comes to representation. But I think representation is good, because I don't think just because I'm a straight white man that I'm any better than anyone else. I think we're all equal, and I think it's good to see all these different kinds of things, which, speaking of, this show as well was also with a female lead. So we're just talking about the representation stuff today from a straight white man. But it was great. It was a wonderful show, and I believe they do have plans for a second season. I don't know if it's been fully announced, but I do believe that is the case, which I would definitely be excited for. I thought this one was incredible. I really liked it. I thought I was very entertained with this. I was very entertained with Wakanda Forever. I'm excited for December because we got a lot of fun stuff coming out. I think one in particular this week that we will probably talk about next episode, which we'll see. I might be doing more weekly episodes. We'll see, because this episode, if you could tell, is not scripted like at all. I kind of just rambled for, what is it, like a half hour almost, I think. So yeah, we may start doing that. But I know Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio comes out on the 9th this week, which I think is Friday. And I'm really excited for that one because it's stop motion, and I love stop motion, and I probably will talk about that one soon. And so yeah, we might talk about that next week. But yeah, Wednesday, Black Panther, they were both fantastic. I highly recommend both of them. You will be easily entertained watching either of those. And yeah, I think that's all I have for today. Yeah. So thank you for watching / listening to Easily Entertained today. If you enjoy this podcast and you want to hear more, please feel free to follow us. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, there we go, Amazon Music, and pretty much anywhere else you get your podcasts. And you can also check us out on social media through TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all just Easily Entertained. And we do have a YouTube channel now as well. So if you're wanting to watch this instead of just listen, you can definitely check that out, or check us out on Spotify as well. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for listening.